Yeah. Yeah, we need to be aggressive.
I don't think it's that's always where.
Do you think about it?
Leslie come up with something real juicy that would guarantee us easily. I'll say. I think we need to make sure we can get through there at the least cost.
Yeah, and we don't want to do something hastily and then say, oh my.
Hopefully, once it's on it, and now it's.
It sometimes says back.
It sounds like Ms. Lee doesn't care.
Oh, they don't?
Sounds like she's not.
Okay. That's good to know.
What did he decide?
Where's your, where's?
The lot.
It was just, yeah, like where's your.
Yes, yes.
I'm not hearing anyone.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Just make sure.
Good,
It should just.
yeah, so it should just do it directly. It's just 30 minutes again. Can you?
Yeah, I mean, we can try to refresh it. I tried to refresh it.
Sure have plans to hire other people or see them there and try to do themselves for a while.
He's good.
See about it.
Which one? Yeah.
So.
Again. Oh. I was just on it, so. Oh, yours or something? All morning. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and start the meeting. Chair Amy's laptop from time to time. I don't know why that wouldn't be coming in.
Can we get something without it? I don't think so.
Say again.
This.
I can get started. Yeah, yeah. I may just look over your shoulder.
Yeah.
once. I don't need to right now.
Oh, crap. Sorry. Thank you.
I'm assuming you all are ready. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the July meeting of the Botetourt County Board of Supervisors. We're glad you're here. We will begin by calling the meeting back to order. We were in a meeting earlier this morning, closed session, and we need to come out of closed session. So I will read the certification and then the board will vote on the certification. Being resolved that to the best of each board member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempt from open meeting requirements and only such matters as were identified in the motion to go into closed session were heard, discussed, considered during the closed session. I make that motion. Been seconded. Roll call vote. Yes.
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 Thank you. We'll have pledge of allegiance, and then we'll ask for a moment of silence. So let's stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So as most of you know, we traditionally have a moment of silence at this time, and we will, but I just want to say as kind of an introduction to that, here's what's on my mind about a moment of silence, and that is profound gratitude for the county employees and county administration from top to bottom, left to right. These have been challenging times, and the resolve and the dedication and the professionalism of the employees of Botetourt County. That's not always obvious to all residents and all citizens, but it's palpable if you're close to it. And I just want to say thank you for hanging in there and for being so steadfast and resolute to all the county employees. So I appreciate that very much. And now let's just have a moment of silence. That's what I'm going to be thinking about. Gratitude for what we have here. But for each of you to share your own thoughts in your own mind, a moment of silence. Okay, thank you. The next item that we have is a citizen comment period for items specific to the agenda. Do we have anyone signed up? Laurie? Citizen comment period? Okay, we have no citizen comment? We do. This is what Laurie was just, oh, look at all those. Yeah, I see it. So we have a walk-on item, which is approval of the Kroger opioid settlement. And I've just shared with you everything that I know about it. Who is going to address this? The county attorney? Okay, thank you, Mr. Lockerbie. You have the floor.
Pardon me. I thought that we were going to work on it, do it later in the agenda. The very short here is that there is, of course, massive litigation going on in federal court out in Ohio relating to the opioid epidemic and how to mitigate the many public harms that have arisen out of it. Some of the firms are continuing to participate in the federal litigation. Other firms have decided to settle with the several thousand localities involved in this litigation individually and separately. So we have Kroger pharmacies decided to settle separately from the overall settlement that's included with the states and the several thousand other localities. And they 10.7 million is coming to Virginia entities, and a little under $40,000 is coming to Botetourt County. That formula is incredibly complicated, but that's where it comes down to. And I hate to say it being this simple, but Kroger has admitted, well, they haven't admitted that they did anything wrong, but they certainly have been willing to settle. And consequently, we will be getting $38,700 that we would not otherwise be getting if you give myself and our outside litigation counsel on this authority to sign the relevant documentation.
Okay, so we want to enter the resolution for consideration by the board.
Yes, sir. Staff is requesting that you approve the resolution, which authorizes us to accept the settlement and sign the relevant documentation in order to make that happen.
Okay. So everybody's aware this is news to the board. So why don't you all take a few minutes to look over the resolution and then we'll consider it for approval. Everybody good?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if no other questions, I ask for the approval of their resolution.
You move to approve?
Yep.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the opioid settlement with Kroger. It stands before us. Is there any discussion or any questions? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Resolution is passed. Good
Thank
way
you,
to
Mr.
start the
Chairman.
meeting. Thank you, Mr. Lockerbie. Now we'll move on to citizen comments, and these are comments specifically related to agenda items. At the end, toward the end of the meeting, we'll have a more general citizen comment period for items that aren't necessarily on the agenda. So we have quite a few of these. We'll run through them. I'll get as many done as makes sense now. We may have to postpone some of them to later in the meeting so that we get started on some timed items on the agenda. So the first one is Stevie Lovell. Good evening, Mr. Lovell.
Yes, Stevie Lovell, Cloverdale, Virginia, 4787 Reed Mountain Road, 60 years in Botetourt County. let's see, I guess mine is under the litter. I didn't know that's how it was proposed because my neighbors had been sharing with me. But I'm opposed to, any more government regulation on automobiles or grass, height, or anything like that. Eventually, the fancy houses are going to end up meeting a property line to a graveyard, and I don't know what you're going to do when you get there. So a lot of the argument has been when people don't take care of their property like they should, or someone that's in a manicured house versus someone like me that is a Botetourt lifer. I use lime and various things and try to keep my shrubbery cut back best I can. But I mean, everything that's been mentioned is directly comes just toward me because I have a shooting match that's 100 years old that my granddaddy started after World War I. I have a junkyard or salvage yard, wherever you want to call it. I have a lot of abandoned cars. Matter of fact, I have one on my lot now from Canada that I'm having a terrible time trying to dispose of. I can't take it to Old Dominion or a salvage yard because I don't have a title to it. So that's an untagged, unlicensed vehicle. But anyhow, I'd like to see Botetourt County spend a little bit more effort instead of on telling us lifers, our property rights and right use of property. I would like to see Botetourt County maybe spend a little time on clean air and quality because we kind of live in a bowl, and Cloverdale is my residence. And I'm constantly dealing with diesel smoke and so forth from Lawrence and some of the truck companies, but I don't call you all and complain about it. That's just what I have to put up with. And it's been proven that carcinogens over a period of time causes lung cancer. And I think that's more of a precedent than tall grass and snakes and mice. And when the peat store comes in where Miss Weitzel's place is, that's an awful lot of land that you're going to have a lot of wildlife will be probably be migrating to the Holland Stockyard. So anyhow, and then another thing, since there's a few lawyers in the house, I'd like to play lawyer for just a minute. We're all guaranteed inherent natural rights. And that means the Constitution always supersedes land use and equality and the preserve of happiness and so forth. And I'd just like to see a little bit smaller government. And that's about all, other than just go Trump. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Weldon. James Norris.
Good afternoon. My name is James Norris. I also live in the Valley District between Cloverdale and Hollins. To give you an idea of where I'm going with this, I'll start out with a couple of cliches. Well, first, one person's trash is someone else's treasure. Other than that, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I've got problems with this changes to the Article number 16 litter control ordinance because that gives ultimate authority to one group of people that can have ultimate authority and control with no avenue of recourse to if something that they don't agree with. I understand that they won't enforce it unless they get complaints, but what's in writing is what counts, not what's is said. Also, this ordinance is similar to the ordinance that Roanoke City passed back in the 70s. Self-proclaimed movers and shakers of the area. They decided they would make their visions of what Roanoke City should be. And that was part of a mass exodus, part of the cause of mass exodus from Roanoke City to the county during that time. Also, as you might have guessed, I'm a collector of old vehicles and farm machinery and things like that. It's a hobby of mine. And there's a world of difference between a junk and a vehicle not being used right then. Junk is something I see as a vehicle with half parts missing off of it, turned over on its side before somebody take the transmission out and windows broken out of it. Unused vehicle, just because it's not licensed and inspected, doesn't make it a junk vehicle. There are many reasons for having a vehicle not licensed and inspected, not the least of being people in the farming industry. In logging, they have vehicles that are used exclusively on the farms or in logging, which have no need to be have these things. Also, the people who may be in the military or going to college, their vehicles parked, and since they're away from home, the vehicle would be inspected or but they would plan on using it when they come back. And I'm kind of losing track of what I wanted to say here. But the main thing is that this is the country's founded on the principle that we're right to have a right to personal liberties. And just not long ago, we celebrated the 4th of July. And there's a real holiday that giving respect to our rights. And this ordinance would be a strong against these principles, in my opinion. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Norris. Next is John Morris.
Hello, I'd like to speak about item 14 on the agenda, dealing with a conservation easement on property off of Catawba Road. I feel like that the people that own the property ought to have the right to do what they want to with the property, and you should allow them to have this conservation easement. Your planning commission recommended this, and I think you should follow their recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next citizen is Charles Rule.
Good afternoon. Charles Roll, Fincastle. I would also like to address item 14 on the agenda, the request for the Lees to place their property on Catawba Road into a conservation easement. Many county residents like me are upset with the overdevelopment and congestion in Daleville. Yes, the property is located within the comprehensive plan, and Mrs. White may have tipped the county's hand at the last meeting when she asked how many houses could be built on it. This request is an opportunity for you to show that you do value the beauty of undeveloped land. If I was hiking on the Appalachian Trail above the property, I would not like looking down on more development, a shopping center, a solar farm, or wind farm, or whatever eyesore the comprehensive plan might cook up. As it is, hikers are happy to wait to reach civilization at Route 220, and at that point, give their business to the Kroger, the ABC store, the local hotels, etc. The Lee family and their neighbors want to preserve the natural beauty of the woods and the open land of their properties on that side of the road, both for themselves and for future generations. The Planning Commission voted to grant their request. You have been elected to represent citizens like the Lees. Please approve their request and preserve what makes Botetourt County a special place. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rule. Harry Martell.
I have two, so do you want me just to do both of them?
Go
Okay.
ahead and do that.
So the first one is on 14, the Lee Conservation Easement, and I'm asking you to support the conservation easement for their property. The residential community would appreciate that, I'm sure, with all the development springing up around and continuing. There are a lot of single-family homes on larger lots in that area, and the property owners there seem to want to help preserve the community for their neighbors who have these nicer properties. They're not the minimum lot size for the maximum number of houses. We have a neighborly property owner here, and I think that the board should support that. The other issue is 16, the litter control issue. Botetourt County has approximately 38 subdivisions. I would imagine most, if not all, have HOAs. So the proper place for people who want to control what their neighbors' yards look like is in an HOA, not in the primarily agriculturally zoned rest of the county, where most of us live who would like to exercise our freedom that we still have by owning what we like and keeping it in the condition we want. Personally, I like to keep my yard mowed, but sometimes it doesn't happen on schedule. I wouldn't want my government weaponized by a disgruntled neighbor for a personal situation that instead of coming to my house and talking to me about. They just report me for. I'm not for more petty tyranny from the local government. Thank you.
Next is Carl Porter.
Hi, Carl Porter, 592 Country Club in Troutville. I'm here asking you to approve the conservation easement on Catawba Road. As you drive by this property, I hope you see it as a reason Botetourt County is so beautiful. I hope you don't see it as 30 to 35 new houses or a location for Daleville Town Center Phase 2. Each one of you will answer a question today. Who has more rights to the future of a piece of property? A legal landowner or the government? Each of you will tell us your answer by the way you vote. You will not just tell us in this room your answer. You'll be telling your kids, your spouses, young adults that grew up in Botetourt and want to buy property in Botetourt. You will tell all of them who has more rights in land ownership, the legal owners or the government.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. This next one is also on the conservation easement. It's David Perry with the Blue Ridge Land Conservancy.
I'll just come down here so I can see y'all. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the Board of Supervisors. My name is David Perry. I'm the Executive Director of the Blue Ridge Land Conservancy, and thank you for the opportunity to speak briefly with you this afternoon. We'll be available during the discussion of the agenda item if there are any questions about the conservation easement that's being discussed today. But I do want to state that in most cases, in almost every case, the Land Conservancy is very much in support of the comprehensive plan, the comprehensive planning process. It helps the county grow in an orderly way, helps you meet your responsibilities, and to do all that in a fiscally responsible manner. In this particular case, because of the location of the property, and you've heard something about that already, you'll hear more about it, I'm sure, from my assistant director. But on a property located where it is, and with the property having two different comprehensive plan designations, we feel like it would be reasonable to allow the property to be designated under one use in the comprehensive plan and to allow Mr. Lee and Mrs. Paulson Lee to continue forward with the conservation easement. Just to allay any concerns, the conservation easement does many things. It does limit the number of homes and the number of divisions and requires the property to be timbered in a ecologically sustainable manner and those sorts of things. But what it doesn't do is get in the way of things like if the county needs to put in a water line or if utilities need to come through the property. Those are still things that under Virginia law, you would be entirely within your right to negotiate with Mrs. Paulson Lee and Mr. Lee as you would with any Botetourt County landowner. So I just wanted to make those comments. And again, thank you for your time. And like I said, we'll be here if there are questions during item 14. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. Next is Emily Bender.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to share some comments with you guys today. As Dave mentioned in his comments, I wanted to speak to the reasons we're, as the Blue Ridge Land Conservancy, excited to hold this easement and to work with the Lee family. And we are in support of the comprehensive plan amendment moving forward to let them put their land in a conservation easement. This land is a family land, a family farm that they have had in their family for many years, and they're excited to protect it and keep it as open space as farmland and forest land moving forward. It also backs up to the Appalachian Trail, as has already been mentioned, providing scenic views as are characteristic of Botetourt County for people who are taking advantage of that recreational opportunity. And then on the other side of that Appalachian Trail, we actually hold an easement on Carvin's Cove protecting that water quality. So all of this together, including the Lee's Farm, would really create a large corridor of protected land for people to enjoy, whether they're driving on Catawba Road or biking on the bike path that is there or on the Appalachian Trail. Additionally, the easement would provide forested buffers along Tinker Creek, again, helping to improve water quality and providing wildlife habitat. And just ensure that the property remains as open space so that farming and agricultural and forestry activities can continue in the county. This also, aligns with comments in the 2010 comprehensive plan that states that one of the goals is to protect rural residential areas and prime agricultural lands from future growth, and provide appropriate policies and procedures to provide reasonable protection on the Blue Ridge Parkway and Appalachian Trail. I thank you for your time today and hope you will vote to accept their amendment.
Thank you, Ms. Bender. Well, that went a little quicker than I thought it would. That concludes everyone who asked to speak on agenda-related items. If anybody else cares to, we'll pick it up at the end of the meeting during the citizen comment period. So that moves us to item number 3, introductions. And the first one is Chief Ferguson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. With me today, I have 2 of our 6 graduates from Academy 37, which graduated in June. Academy 37 was the partnership academy, the last one with Roanoke City, Roanoke County, and Salem, held off of Kessler Mill Road earlier this year. These 2 gentlemen who I'll introduce in just a moment were part of a team that started as 7 staff, ended with 6 graduating. Their co-patriots are either off today or had other commitments, so they couldn't be here. But ultimately, they went through the 6-month training process to start from ground zero and go through their initial certifications of their firefighter level 1 and 2, as well as a hazardous materials operations course, and a bigger achievement for all of them in terms of studying and going through some pretty tough testing as their emergency medical technician. So both of these gentlemen, as well as their co-patriots from this class, excelled and represented Botetourt extremely well. We're very glad to have them as part of the team, and they're already out in company getting their task books checked off so that they're free and clear to proceed as released firefighter EMTs. The gentlemen that are with me to my left, I'll introduce real quick. First is Adam Flora. Adam comes to us from the Vinton area, and he left a job as a lineman with Salem Electric to come work for us as a firefighter EMT. And then to his immediate left is Wesley Melhorn. Wesley comes to us from the Roanoke area. He has served in the United States Army for 4 years and exited as an E6 and maintains active status with the Virginia National Guard. We're very glad to have both these gentlemen, and I'll just mention their counterparts. Garrett Abshire, who is not with us today. He comes to us from a volunteer background, a volunteer with Back Creek Fire Department in Roanoke County, some experience there, as well as Corey Minix. He's actually the spouse of one of our part-time paramedics. They live in the Blacksburg area. He's a former law enforcement officer. Gus Santoyo, who comes to us from Reno, Nevada, had a background in realty, came to this area with his wife, and is now part of our team. Justin Sheldon, who came to us from the Roanoke area, actually was working at Munters as a welder and came on with us as a firefighter EMT, and is also a referral from one of our full-time staff members that'll be introduced for his paramedic achievement in a moment, and also stems from Back Creek Volunteer Fire Department in Roanoke County. So we're extremely excited to have all these folks on the team and underway. I wanted to introduce them to you. Gentlemen.
Thank you both. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Glad to have you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
if I may proceed on, two of the five gentlemen that completed the paramedic class are on their way down. So kind of in succession here, the folks that I just introduced are brand new folks to the workforce that are out in company as firefighter EMTs. And these two gentlemen with me are two of five that went through an 11-month program at Radford University Carilion, taking the next step in their career path to become paramedics. Like I said, there were five individuals that we supported to do that. They spent all day Thursday and all day Friday for 11 months in classroom setting, as well as the additional hundreds of hours in clinicals in the emergency department, the operating room, and in the backs of an ambulance to get their competencies completed and achieve what is known as the National Registry Paramedic certification. So with me today, to my immediate left, is Josh Merchant. Josh joined the team back in October of 21. And to his left is Hunter Smith, who joined our team back in January of 21. So these gentlemen have already been through what we consider phase one, where they ride as the third person with a paramedic in the back of the truck with them and an EMT firefighter driving. They are now in phase two, which means they are scheduled with another paramedic partner, so that if it's something they've never experienced or trying to figure it out, they have a safety net. The person driving them is a paramedic, and if they need that extra reference, that's already on the truck with them. And once they progress off of phase two, they'll be free and clear and released as fully fledged paramedics. The other folks that were part of their cohort that couldn't be with us today, Travis Simonello. Travis joined our team back in July of 22. He was a transfer over from the sheriff's office. Robert Hagan, lifelong Buchanan resident. He's been with us for 5 years and made the conscious decision to step up to be a paramedic. And then last but not least is Kirk Woolridge, who's been with us for a little over 2 years and came to us after being a teacher in an adjacent county. So very thankful for these gentlemen and stepping up to the plate. It's a volunteer process. I can promise you that in the past 24 years, we have never forced or pushed someone to be a paramedic because that equates to the bedside manner. And we're the only locality in the region that I can promise you can say that. These are folks that said, put me in, coach, and gave of their time and effort to do it. And we're so thankful. 100% pass rate first time through. So congratulations, gentlemen. And if you'll indulge me for one quick second, Ms. Lunsford, it did not hit the agenda in time, but just to maximize the time real quick, we've got the video of the girls' fire camp from this year. It's a brief professionally produced video, and she's just going to provide you the statistics of the camp so that you're up to speed on what took place. Go away.
Good afternoon. I'm so excited to show you guys this video, and I wanted to share a sweet note from a parent that we received after the camp. As you know, we held camp on June 8th of 2024, and we had 52 attendees with 26 on the wait list this year. So still a great effort by everybody, but this was a note to our team. I wanted to take a moment to extend my heartfelt thanks for hosting the Girls Fire Camp once again this year. My daughters had an absolutely fantastic time, just as they did in years past, and they couldn't stop talking about all the exciting activities and new skills they learned. Your dedication and effort in organizing such an engaging and an educational camp are truly commendable. It is evident that a lot of thought and care goes into planning each aspect of this camp, ensuring that the girls not only have fun, but gain valuable experiences. The confidence and enthusiasm my children have shown since attending the camp are a testament to the positive impact you and your team have had on them. I just want to say that the team that put this together has been great every single year. All the career staff and volunteers that have come together to put this on have made it such a success. And I hope that this video gets to show you a little bit about what they got to do for the day.
Thank you. That is an example of Botetourt at its best. And I think four of the words or three of the words you used were fun, success, and knowledge, and you can't beat that. So that was a great program, well carried out. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That's beautiful.
Thank you. And I did want to let you know, just on the heels of the introductions, Botetourt, the first Career Academy started yesterday in Troutville, with 10 new employees in that program. That does not speak to any new positions for FY25. Those were filling vacancies that we already had, post partnership with the Roanoke region, which they're going through their final steps together as a group, because Roanoke City is going to start its own academy in January of 2025, to decompress the facilities that we've helped decompress. And I also want to let you know, I know two of the supervisors are actively involved in the commission group, but just so everybody knows, the volunteer fire academy that we've been co-hosting with Roanoke at the Regional Training Center is back in Botetourt. It starts the week of August the 13th. We have 17 volunteers signed up for that. 15 of those are Botetourt County and 2 are neighbor jurisdictions, I believe, out of Rockbridge County. So we're actively planning that process. So if you're ever by the Troutville Fire Training Center, the big red building on the hill by the fire station, day or night, there will be some type of activity going on there. It is going to be used nonstop. So you're welcome to stop by and see what's going on. But I just wanted to let you know that that's what's happening in our world right now.
Very great. Very good. Thank you, Chief.
Thank
So next introduction is Mr. Taylor, Manesh Taylor, the Business Applications Employee.
Hello, good afternoon, Board of Supervisors. So this afternoon it's my privilege to introduce to you a new member of the Technology Services team. Dustin Cohen joined the team in May as our new Business Applications Manager. Dustin comes to us from Warner Brothers Discovery Channel, where he managed a lot of the application programming and application deployment and AI development and many different kinds of projects. He brings to us years of experience in program and product management, cloud transformation, data management, application delivery, and many other aspects of information technology. Dustin will be responsible for managing our applications analyst team and the help desk team in addition to serving as a backup to me when I'm out and about. Please take a moment to welcome Dustin to the county.
Welcome.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'd like to take just a moment of liberty to share a quick commendation about our technology services group. I'm sure you all heard in the news about the CloudStrike incident of last Thursday that shut down computers and servers around the globe. We were no exception to that. Our team got notice of that, like everybody around the globe, at 1 or 2 something in the morning, 1:30 in the morning, and Mahesh and Chase and Kroom and Matt Paxton in particular jumped right into action, and they were up all night long. And before 10 o'clock Friday morning, they had all of our servers recovered and back in operation and restored. Their response was just fantastic. All of the rest of the team, a number of whom are here, I'd like to recognize, of course, Dustin, Taylor Montgomery, Brianna Pierce, I believe, is here. Matt Paxton is here. Brian Bauer, Travis Hypes. They all jumped in and helped recover individual machines, which they had to physically touch a lot of these machines to get them back up and running. and just did a phenomenal job. And we're able to recover all of that for us in our operations and have people working almost without delay. And it was just phenomenal. And I just wanted to recognize their efforts.
Very good. Thank you, folks. David, you want to?
And it's also my pleasure to introduce to you our new Director of Parks and Recreation, Victor Morales. Victor comes to us with experience in team sports and outdoor recreation and adventure. Most recently, he served as the Director of Recreation and Director for the Berry Outdoor Leadership Development Program, and also an adjunct kinesiology lecturer for Berry College in Mount Berry, Georgia. You may be interested to know that Berry College has the largest college campus in the world, consisting of 27,000 acres. Victor has designed and managed a variety of recreational programs and activities for students and the public, including intramural sports and outdoor experiences. He's served on community boards and developed civic and private sector partnerships to provide and expand recreational and wellness opportunities. He has developed leadership programs, and his teams at Berry College were recognized as top leaders and performers throughout the college organization. So it's our great pleasure to have him. He joined us late May, hit the ground running, and is doing great work, and we're just thrilled to have him on the team.
Thank you, David. Welcome, Director. Victor, just so you're aware, and I know you're joining up with a good group here for sure. You're also signing up for a real challenge, because we have identified Parks and Recreation as a key area of activity for us. So you're the man for it. Appreciate it. Yes, sir. One more introduction from Ms. Pendleton.
Chairman, if it's okay, we'll postpone that to next month while the team is out, and like to recognize them all together. So have two folks out at the state conference today. So if we can wait till next month, that'd be fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, we have public hearing at 2:45. Let's jump to that to try to stay on track. Mr. Cirillo, I believe we're going to take care of this.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and all in attendance. Total proposed budget amendment in the FY25 budget exceeds 1% of the original FY25 budget, and therefore, according to State Code of Virginia, a public hearing must be held on the matter. This public hearing was duly advertised in the Fincastle Herald on July 10th. This budget amendment sets out appropriations at the beginning of the year for certain projects and discrete funds other than the county general fund, where the previous existing appropriations expired on June 30th. The largest appropriation for budget amendment A, which is for Fund 315, which houses financing proceeds for the Circuit Courthouse renovation project. Budget amendment B is an appropriation for the contractual obligation with Motorola Solutions Incorporated for an upcoming 50% installment payment that coincides with the delivery of equipment and the public safety radio replacement project. Amendments A and B account for 91% of the total amendment being requested. Amendment D is for carryover budget funds for the fire and EMS ambulances and vehicles, while amendment F is for appropriations for 11 discrete funds that are appropriated at the beginning of each year. Remaining amendments C, G, and E are itemized in the agenda item text and includes funding for the Fincastle Museum, which is grant funded, an appropriation to support the purchase of a new van for the county's van program, and rollover funding of the prior year balance for the Fire and EMS Capital Reserve Fund. Total amount of this budget amendment is $39,256,000. 345.96. Therefore, staff recommendations are as follows. Hold the public hearing for the 39,256,345.96 total proposed amendments to the 2024-2025 Botetourt County budget, and close the public hearing and approve the appropriations for the proposed budget amendments. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Zarilla.
Sure.
Any questions from board members?
No, sir.
I'll open the public hearing. Any questions or comments from the public on these budget amendments? Kind of a routine thing every year. Any comments from the public? I'll close the public hearing and place the matter before us for a vote. I hear a motion. I'll move for approval
I'll
of the
second.
of the amendments, and we seconded. Thank you, sir. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Zarella.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Going back to recognitions, Mr. Mormon, do you have one? Yeah, you do.
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to ask Shantae Wade, our recreation manager, and Chris Mundy, our rec programs coordinator, if they wouldn't mind coming forward for a moment. Mr. Clinton, appreciated your comments about county staff and the job they do and their dedication and professionalism. I couldn't agree more. We have phenomenal staff. And Shantae here and Chris are two examples of that. As you know, in March of this year, our recreation director resigned to pursue other opportunities. Great opportunities for her, and we were glad to see that and wish her well. But that left us without leadership in the department. In the middle of our busiest sports season, spring. So working with hundreds of children and their families in various sports programs. And so that work fell primarily on the shoulders of Shantae and Chris and our administrative assistant at the time, Nikki Bryant. And just wanted to share our commendation of them. They did not shirk away from that task and responsibility. They stepped up, they took on additional duties, they put in extra hours. They always work nights and weekends, but they worked even longer nights and longer weekends throughout this period. They did so with grace and professionalism and with a smile on their face. They handled everything that came their way. And we just could not ask more. The dedication that they have to the program, to the children, to the families of Botetourt County, just in my mind cannot be questioned. It could not be greater. And we just wanted to recognize them before you and express our thanks to them publicly for all they do day in and day out, but also being willing to go above and beyond when that's necessary. So thank you.
So appropriate. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thank you all very
Thank you
much.
for all you do.
And now let's take a quick look at item number 5, consent agenda. Have the board members had the opportunity to look at each of those items? Anybody have any comments or questions? Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Back to Mr. Zarilla, approval of transfers and additional appropriations, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the month of July, there's one transfer request for budgeted funds from the salary adjustment holding accounts to the proper departmental compensation and fringe benefit accounts. This amount being transferred relates to the 3% raise that matched the state's FY25 percentage increase and is effective July 1st. With respect to appropriation requests, there are 6 pass-through items and 1 regular appropriation being requested. Pass-through items 1 through 6 represent expenditure reimbursements, miscellaneous receipts, donations, and grant funds, including the town of Buchanan grant funds that assist in paying down principal on its outstanding debt for Buchanan fire truck. Appropriation item 7 is an appropriation for FY25 first half projected preliminary cost for the Reed Mountain Fire Department facility expansion and the new County 911 Dispatch Center. Respectfully requested that this transfer and these appropriations be approved by the board. Are there any questions?
Thank you, sir. Questions from board members? Transfers and additional appropriations? I'll entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. We approve transfers and additional appropriations. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion carries. You're still up, Mr. Zarilla.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now, this is for approval of accounts payable and ratification of payable disbursements for July. Total expenditures being requested for approval for July for the general fund, including debt service and all other funds, is combined $2,284,796.16. Payable disbursements of note for the month are as follows: under fire and EMS, $125,629 paid to VFIS for annual insurance coverage for 3 policies. Under Sheriff's Department, $54,747 paid to iCore Technology for a mini caliber SWAT robot. Under regional organizations, $40,212 paid to Roanoke Valley Allegheny Commission for FY25 dues. Under regional organizations, $34,683 paid to Roanoke Regional Partnership representing semi-annual support funds. Again, under regional organizations, $51,370 paid to Visit Virginia Blue Ridge for the FY25 first quarter partnership payment. Under local health department, $100,726 to the Botetourt Health Department for the first quarterly operational support payment. Under ARPA 2021, $30,000 paid to Visit Virginia Blue Ridge for the pass-through of a state tourism grant. Under replace ComDev software, $30,700 paid to Cloud Permit for software. Under YMCA, $300,000 paid to YMCA of Virginia's Blue Ridge for the county's year 8 of 10 matching contributions. Are there any questions or comments related to the accounts payable expenditure request for the month of July?
Thank you, sir. Are there any comments or questions? I'll entertain a motion. I move for approval of accounts payable.
Second.
Second. All in favor? Is there any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is passed. Let's go to the VDOT segment. Mr. Blevins, or not Mr. Blevins. Afternoon.
Mr. Blevins is on a ship today, so he's on vacation this week. So we've started our resurfacing contracts in Botetourt County. We're currently working in the Blue Ridge area. We don't have any traffic engineering work orders this month, but we do have a lot of land development projects, land use projects, and I'm sure you have read all through those, so there's no need to go through those. We've had quite a few permits issued this month, and we don't have any residency projects, and then we're doing our regular routine maintenance, mowing, shoulder clipping, our normal stuff in the summer, lots of dust control. So if you have any questions?
Questions? Let's go through the county here with each jurisdiction. Anything from Blue Ridge?
No, just wanted to thank you for the paving job you've been doing. I've gotten many compliments from the residents down there.
Good. That's wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
And also for keeping me apprised on the water analysis over there on Longwood.
We're a long way from getting that one figured out, but we're working on it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Anything? Castle.
Got a couple signs on McKinney Hollow Road that the posts actually are starting to fail and the signs are wanting, and also in the Fairfield subdivision, there's a couple signs that are failing.
Okay.
They're just old wooden signs that hadn't been replaced with the nice modern metal stuff.
Gotcha. I'll have our sign crew take a look at it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
That all?
That's it.
Valley District.
No, sir.
You're good. Buchanan?
Yeah, so one item. Well, first, thank you. I know you've been doing a lot of mowing Arcadia Road. Thank you for that. We asked talked about that last month. It did come to my attention, and this is a recurring theme, but someone did bring it up to me this month and asked that I please bring this before you all. The speed limits on Route 11, south of Buchanan. As you know, and we've talked about a little closer to Buchanan, it changes multiple times. And I know we're not doing anything about it, but that I think that needs to be revisited again and again to make that consistent. But the area of concern that I want to talk about this month is right in front of the North Star Restaurant. The speed limit at the exit 162 is different, and then it goes up to 55. And as you know, North Star is very busy. There's a lot of traffic in and out of there. There's a lot of elderly people in and out of there. And when cars are coming through there that aren't familiar with that area, it is really dangerous. And someone brought to me, to my attention, a near miss that happened just late June.
Okay.
So if we could take a look at those speed limits again and see if we couldn't find some sort of way to dampen the hazard through there and then maybe make the speed limits consistent. I would appreciate another look at that. Thank you.
I would like to let you know that they did install the signs on Route 11 at 43.
Mhm.
The structure they went in today.
Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
sure did. So
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
Hunter's Green is
Yep.
going
So,
forward. So
okay, good.
so-
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you have any?
We're good.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Item number 10, approval of supplemental appropriation resolution to support budget projects not completed in FY24. It's an annual consideration. Mr. Zarella.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a request for reappropriation of budgeted funds. These appropriations for these items expired June 30th. And they include the following: 43,151 for the project cost for the Reed Mountain Station project, 30,000 for partial funding for a new van for the van program with additional available funding provided by writer contributions, 100,000 towards the contracted cost of new payroll and HR software, $100,000 towards the cost of sheriff's camera software and network, and finally $50,400 for projected costs for the new and enhanced community development software. Staff recommends the reappropriation of these funds totaling $323,551, so these projects can move forward and receive the available funds in order to complete and/or advance these projects on a timely basis. A resolution is provided as documentation for the reappropriation request. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Board members had the opportunity to look at this. Are we prepared for a motion?
So move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we consider the supplemental appropriation resolution, consider and pass. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Number 11 sounds very similar, but it's somewhat different. Consideration of appropriation of FY23 excess EMS cost recovery program funds and transfer of those funds to the Fire and EMS Capital Reserve Fund. So the program has been in place for a decade or so, I guess. Mr. Swell.
Yeah. Thanks, Mr. Chairman. This agenda item continues the annual review of EMS cost recovery program results in order to provide revenues in excess of budget as a source of funds for the Fire and EMS Capital Reserve Fund. As a policy parameter, state consideration will be given by the Board of Supervisors to transfer annual cost recovery program revenues that exceed its budget. In this case, FY23 audited program revenues totaled $1,356,334, which was $156,334 more than the budgeted $1.2 million. In addition, the policy also states that the sales of vehicles and vehicle equipment can also be a source of revenues for the Capital Reserve Fund. Therefore, there were vehicle sales totaling $33,339.46 for FY23 and recently ended FY24. This then brings the total funds for consideration to transfer and appropriate to the Fire and EMS Capital Reserve Fund to $189,673.46. The recommendations are as follows. Number one, transfer the 189,673.46 from the general fund undesignated fund balance to the Fire and EMS Capital Reserve Fund, Fund 310. And number two, to appropriate total funds of 189,673.46 for the Fire and EMS Capital Reserve Fund, Fund 310. At this time, I'd like to invite Chief Ferguson for any comments you'd like to make.
I think just in short, to follow up on what Mr. Zarella said, this is the program that we established back in fall of 2018 as a means of using cost recovery funds from ambulance transports, what insurance pays and other things take care of affording for those services, as well as the vehicles from the fire and EMS system that are being replaced that we then sell through the public procurement sales process back into fire and EMS. Of course, the glass ceiling that has been set for revenues was the 1.2 million. And we would be coming back in October to true up the FY24 revenues as they age, given that, transports from June would typically not be paid and in full until closer to the fall. That's why we usually come in the fall. And so just appreciative. These are funds that really, given the order that's already been placed back in 22 for the 2 fire engines, the ladder truck, and the 2 ambulances, this will just help continue to offset that. It's funds that would be directly pointed towards that from my perspective.
Is that generally how those funds are used to pay down, if you will, larger items, or are there?
It has been used for single transactions. An example, the Fincastle tanker truck, when we did the refurbishment, you all allowed for $75,000 to go towards that. I want to say that the brush truck replacement that we did for Fincastle a couple years ago, same thing. So smaller transactions like those. And I believe the last larger commitment was in part the Reed Mountain tanker, where instead of asking you all to appropriate additional funds, Reed Mountain as an agency put up 100,000, and the remaining 250 or so came from this type of fund. So again, we're just trying to find ways to take those revenues, place them in an account that they then turn out in the shape of, right now, all we've done is capital apparatus. No investments from that fund have went towards any type of facilities or otherwise. Yes, sir.
Great program.
Thank you.
Any questions from board members?
No, sir.
Let's see, we do need a motion on this. Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
Move
Is
in
there
sec-
2 portions that we need to approve, though, the transfer, number 1, and then the second part to approve the total funds?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Mr. Lockerbie, can they be done? Do they have to be done individually, or can they be combined?
They may be combined as long as the intent of the Board of Supervisors is clear from the text of the motion.
So we can take them in combination. Okay, so we'll combine those 2 issues, the vehicles and the other sources of funds. I've heard a motion. I think I cover both of them.
Yeah.
For sure. concerned.
Yes.
And did you second it?
I second.
You say, okay. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, board members.
Thank you, sir. So let's have the update on the Department of Social Services.
Hi, my name is Laura Mae Smith, Director of Botetourt County Department of Social Services. I have been an employee with the county for 14 years. So I thought part of the intentions of coming before you today was to explain and talk about the state process for reappointing DSS board members and to ask for your consideration to go through that process. The state advised my agency that the appointments should be posted to a public website for the Board of Supervisors to consider all qualified citizens to serve as district representatives for the community and citizens of the county. Given number 5, consent agenda C, D, and E, it appears that that is not the case. The Department of Social Services is 85% state funded and 15% locally funded. Whether it be Policy Virginia Code, or state best practice, it is disheartening to myself and other agency employees to not follow state recommendations. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any questions for members? Thank you for that report. Did you have something to say?
She's next.
I'm sorry, I can't.
She's
Oh, you're next. Okay. Well, come on down.
Extension.
Afternoon.
Ann Jones, I am the Agriculture Extension Agent for Botetourt County, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here this afternoon representing Botetourt County's farmers and farming families. As you know, our farmers in Botetourt County take great pride in being stewards of the land here in Botetourt County. But no matter what great managers they are in terms of being taking care of the land and being good stewards, we have been met with unprecedented temperatures, extreme high temperatures, and low rainfall this season, this growing season, from about mid-spring through this past week. We were finally blessed with some good rains, but unfortunately, we have seen the damage to our crops when not receiving the rainfall, the needed rainfall during a time when our crops have been planted, the crops are in the ground, and they got a tough start getting going. Hopefully this rain will help, and hopefully this will start a trend. However, I come to you today to ask potentially for some help in reaching out to the USDA to qualify for some disaster relief for our farmers. And we have put together a proposal. And would it be appropriate for me to read through this at this time for you? Whereas there continues to be dry conditions throughout 2024 in Botetourt County, Virginia, which have caused widespread substantial crop and grassland damage. And whereas unseasonably high temperatures are accelerating the effects of the rainfall deficit, causing hardship on local farms. And whereas livestock water resources are declining. And whereas the lack of sufficient pasture has required farmers to use winter feed reserves. And whereas there does not appear to be a significant relief in the foreseeable future. And whereas these conditions have and continue to cause financial loss and hardship to the farmers in Botetourt County. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Botetourt County Board of Supervisors and the Botetourt County Cooperative Extension do hereby petition Mr. Ronald M. Howe, Jr., State Executive Director of the Virginia Farm Service Agency, USDA, to declare Botetourt County a disaster area to provide the means for those affected to qualify for some relief assistance, proclaimed this 23rd day of July, 2024.
Thank you. I'll move for approval.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve that resolution. It's open for discussion. I wanted to ask that one comment you had that livestock water resources are declining. It's like your third statement, I guess. That sounds sort of general in nature. Is that referring to the water table, or is that referring, I mean, I guess I don't understand what you mean by.
I do. I am referring to the water table. And if you would observe our streams that we have in Botetourt County, certainly you can see the decline in the flow of them. And then anytime that we have a long period of drought, those of us and a lot of our livestock are being watered from wells through the use of wells to keep where our livestock have been fenced out of our streams. We cannot but be concerned about the amount of water that our wells are supplying.
Okay, understand. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Other questions or comments?
Thank you for doing this.
Right. Thank you.
All in favor of approving the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman, can you hold on a second? And I want to take a moment to commend Ms. Jones on another effort that I think is going to wrap up successfully tomorrow, knock on wood.
Yes.
But she has offered some sale opportunities for our local beef producers. Some cows were sold yesterday, and I think they did very well working on that project. And they're all going to be sold tomorrow, correct?
Yes, Ms. White, thank you for bringing that up and giving me the opportunity to speak. We did offer a marketing opportunity for our beef producers in Botetourt County to participate in the Virginia Quality Assured program. And through this program, these cattle they're weaned for 45 days. They are required to have a series of vaccinations to qualify to be sold through this program. We actually sold those cattle. Over 600 head of cattle were sold last night over tele-auction. And those cattle would have averaged around $2,000 per head. And those of you that are familiar with how cattle have sold in the past, that is very good. That's very good. It's an increase. I apologize that I don't have the increase in the amount that we sold, dollar amount that we sold over last year. I will do that and provide that to you. But it's definite increase. We will be at the Holland Stock Market on Thursday, taking up those cattle.
right,
And
Thursday, not
yes, the
tomorrow.
producers will be bringing them to Holland's stockyard, and they will be, most of them will be going to the state of Pennsylvania. We did sell 3 loads of cattle into Canada. They will be going actually into Canada. So a lot of interest from buyers in the quality of cattle that we're raising in our area.
So thank you for your efforts
Absolutely.
and giving our producers that opportunity. That's outstanding.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy, for bringing that up. I think what we'll do, folks, we have several items in several consecutive items that may be kind of lengthy. How about if we recess until 3:30? So we'll stand in recess until 3:30.